Hey, without a doubt, you, yes, you are my number one. I appreciate you being here right now with me in the basement. I was hoping to have Jerome Powell join us, the head of the United States of America, Federal Reserve, but he had some other commitment. So while this video is for you, it's also for Jerome because he needs to hear the truth. He needs to hear from us what's really going on out on the street. And I have 5 things I want to bring up for Jerome that he needs to consider as he moves forward with this hawkish, aggressive monetary policy, which has been killing the price of silver and gold. We need to let Jerome know what's really going on the streets. I know he has 400 PhDs working for him there at the Federal Reserve, but there's another side to the story, Jerome. It's the real side. It's what's really going on out here, and we're going to tell you 5 key things that are going on right now. Number 1, Jerome, and notice I'm using my index finger, Federal Express. Have you heard the CEO recently said that he believes we are heading into a worldwide recession? Their shipping volumes have collapsed. They're not going to make anywhere near the money that Wall Street thought they were going to make this year. And that's a really good barometer for what's going on in the economy, right? If people aren't buying things and acquiring new products for manufacturing, etc., there's going to be lower shipping, and that is the case. And the reason why we need to communicate these 5 points to Jerome is that Jerome says the economy's strong, everything's fine. He uses that as his basis for this aggressive monetary policy, which is killing precious metals. We need him to be honest and say, you know what? The economy is slowing down significantly, and we're really not winning the war on inflation. When that happens, then the price of gold and silver will skyrocket. But number 2, Jerome, Ford. Have you heard of them? Like one of the oldest, biggest companies in the United States of America, the Ford F-150 pickup truck. I've always wanted one of those. Someday I will have one. There's just something about the Ford F-150 pickup truck. But nonetheless, Ford put out news earlier in this week. They're having major issues with inflation. I think they said expenses are going to be $1 billion higher than what they had previously expected. Things aren't looking good out here on the street, Jerome. And what about number 3? General Electric, another one of America's oldest and largest companies. I have a GE double oven upstairs. My house was built in 1965. That means that oven is like 50-something years old, if my math is correct, and it still works like a charm. I often wonder if we were to buy a new GE double oven today, would it last another 50 years? I have a sneaking suspicion that it would not. Nonetheless, General Electric, they put out some news this morning that because of supply chain problems, other problems, their cash flow is not going to be as good as they anticipated. Another one of America's largest and oldest companies showing signs of economic strain. The best part about that oven, stick with me here because I still have a few more things we're going to talk about with Jerome, but the best part about that oven is what my wife, Susie, cooks in it. Last night she made this 9x13 casserole that had some sausage in it and some hash browns and cheese. And I'll tell you what, it was to die for. It tasted great. Plus, it was like an inexpensive meal and healthy. Now, let's move on to number 4, the real estate market. I could point out 4 times 10 things that are wrong with the real estate market. 40 different data points. I mean, it is slowing down significantly. The top guy at Redfin recently said the only time he's ever seen it worse was during the great financial crisis when we had a pretty much real estate collapse. The other day, I brought my daughters to Six Flags. When we were coming home, they like to go the long way through my neighborhood. As we were driving through, there were signs for an open house. They're 10 years old. They were like, "Daddy, what's an open house?" I'm like, well, that's when people are selling their house. The realtor opens it up for a couple hours for people to look at. They had never heard of such a thing. They were begging me to go in and look at this house, but I was like, we got to get home. We're already late. But the point being is that I had not seen, and my daughters, I don't think have ever seen, an open house. That's a big sign that this real estate market has turned. Absolutely. Well, it looks like Jerome is not going to show up. But you did, and to me, that's even better. Thank you for giving me some of your precious time, deciding to join me here in Ron's Basement. You are always welcome. We'll navigate these choppy waters together. We've got camaraderie. We've got it all. If you'd like to come back, you can subscribe right here. Turn on the bell notifications so you get notified every time I put out a new video, which is every day, which I intend to do for the rest of my life. So, hey, you got a friend for life. You can share this video with anyone you like. Don't forget, leave a comment in the comment section below. It's very important to me and the other people that join us in the basement that we hear from you and we learn about you. And the fifth and final thing we need to bring up to Jerome Powell is inflation. We could talk about inflation and fuel cost, housing cost. All across the board, there's major inflation. We're just going to mention to him what it's like as an average person in the world right now to go to the grocery store. I don't know about you, but when I go to the grocery store, it sure feels like everything I buy is somewhere between 50% and 100% higher than it was just a short 18 months ago. We have a major runaway inflation problem going on in the world right now. People are spending the same dollar amount, Jerome, but guess what? They're only getting a half to 2/3 of what they were getting with their money in the past. So when you say, oh, the GDP is the same, that's okay, whatever. But there's only a half to 2/3 of volumes of transactions going on. And let me clue you into something. Let's go back to number one, FedEx. Maybe that's why shipping volumes are so far down. We have major economic problems in this country, okay? And Jerome and Janet can say everything's fine and we're gonna be tough and aggressive and everything else. Well, it's not gonna work. When they have to reverse course, which they will, looser monetary policy will result in an escalation in the price of real assets, including silver, including gold. It will be good. We will have a good time. We will have a party here in Ron's Basement, but don't forget, this is not financial advice. Just my opinion. A guy in his basement in St. Louis, what does he know, right? Don't base any financial decisions or any other decisions based upon what I'm sharing with you today, but I do want you to come back. I do appreciate you joining me here in the basement. You're always welcome. Until next time, take care of yourself and be well.